Hey teachers, July's here, and we know what you're thinking. Should I be prepping? Should I be resting? What should I be doing?
Well, don't worry, we've got you. Join us for our free July secret training where we are spilling our best kept secret, how to prep for back to school without giving up your entire summer.
You will walk away knowing exactly what to focus on, when to do it, and how to actually enjoy July while still getting ready for your best year yet.
You can sign up now for free at secondstorywindow.net/July. That's secondstorywindow.net/JULY.
This is the summer game changer that you have been waiting for. This is episode 206 of Teacher Approved.
Hey there, and welcome back to the podcast. On Thursdays this summer, we're sharing a weekly Can't Miss Classic, one of our favorite teacher-approved episodes that's full of timely takeaways. We handpicked these classic episodes to be ones we know you'll want to hear this summer as you recover and prepare for a new school year.
Today, we are bringing back one of our most requested summer episodes, and for good reason. Whether you're listening poolside with a popsicle or sneaking in some quiet time between summer errands, this one is definitely worth revisiting. We are talking about the summer to-do list with capital letters and all. You know the one. It starts as a hopeful little note on a sticky pad and somehow becomes your constant companion, your measuring stick, and let's be honest, sometimes your jailer.
We have all been there before. You're torn between feeling that if you don't conquer every school task, you're going to pay for it come August, and feeling like if you do try to do everything, you'll miss out on the part of summer that's actually supposed to refill you.
Oh, you can't win. But this episode is really about finding that balance between both extremes. We talk through how to approach your summer planning in a way that's intentional, but not overwhelming.
You'll hear strategies for creating a readiness plan that works with your boundaries instead of against them, and how to prioritize the things that will have the biggest impact on your back-to-school transition.
Plus, we walk you through a simple but powerful reflection. How do you want to feel at the start of the school year? And what's one thing you can do this summer to help you get there?
So whether your goal is to feel prepared, energized, or just not totally frazzled, this episode is here to help you give your future self a well-deserved gift. Let's dive in.
You're listening to Teacher Approved, the podcast helping educators elevate what matters and simplify the rest. I'm Heidi.
And I'm Emily. We're the creators behind Second Story Window, where we give research-based and teacher-approved strategies that make teaching less stressful and more effective. You can check out the show notes and resources from each episode at secondstorywindow.net.
We're so glad you're tuning in today. Let's get to the show. One of my personal end of school year traditions was the launching of my summer to-do list. And please know I have turned that into a proper noun in honor of the reverence it deserves. And that list, with all of its many pages, became my constant summer companion, my link to sanity, and also my jailer. My mood in the summer was completely determined by how much progress I was making toward checking everything off that list. I happened to land on this particular approach to school prep because I did not always have a productive summer, and I learned the hard way that I would pay for it when school started if I wasn't using my summer well.
Hopefully, this is coming across as a cautionary tale, listeners, and not what we would suggest you emulate. Yes, you have things to get done, but enjoying your unpaid summertime should be your main focus.
In last week's episode, we talked about the different types of recovery you might need this summer. Make sure to go back and check out that episode if you want some ideas on planning your summer.
We only get one summer a year. We want to make sure we're using that time intentionally instead of just drifting through it and hoping we get around to the things we want to do. So we need to make sure that fun stuff is getting scheduled.
But besides plans for lounging and long lunches, we also need a readiness plan so we're in good shape when school starts.
Right. The last thing we want is for a blissful summer to turn into a terrified, chaotic school year. That's why we want to add goals and boundaries to our readiness plan.
You won't be ready to start the year without having specific goals about what readiness looks like for you. The first step is to imagine how you want to feel as you head into the new school year, and then identify specific goals you can set for the summer to help you get there.
Setting clear goals for your back-to-school readiness will guide you to make the most of your summer work time. Imagine it's the end of the summer and you are starting school feeling more prepared than ever. What tasks would you need to accomplish to give you that feeling?
But, we don't want to lose our whole summer to our work goals. So we need boundaries. For example, you may decide that you're not going to do anything for summer in the month of June, and instead you're going to prioritize recovery.
Or you may decide that you're going to work in your classroom only on Wednesdays. Setting clear boundaries about when, where, and how you will work on school-related tasks will prevent work life from overshadowing your beautiful summer life.
Okay, we've just thrown a bunch of ideas at you, but don't worry. We have a free resource to help you keep track of it all. Emily has helpfully renamed it the End of Year Roadmap, and all you have to do to access it is to click the link in our show notes.
Yeah, I didn't think our 20-letter acronym was working for the name of that. This roadmap is designed to bridge the transition between ending the school year and starting your summer. There are pages for reflecting on the last year, pages for planning your summer, and there's a great page for starting your summer to-do list.
So let us dive into the wonder that is your proper noun summer to-do list and discuss how to make it your friend instead of your foe.
The first step is to write everything down in one location. You can use the handy-dandy Google Sheet we included in the roadmap, or you can use an app or a notebook or any other method that is useful for you and that you will not lose.
One advantage that digital list making has over paper and pencil list making is that you always have access to it. If you happen to be brushing your teeth before bed and you suddenly remember you need labels for your book boxes, you can easily just add it on your phone. If you have to go find a notebook at 11 o'clock at night, that is just not a walk anyone wants to take.
And if you write it down on some random piece of paper that you have handy, trust me, you will lose it.
I've done
or
that.
Come across it and be like, what is this even for? Once you've got a central place to gather all your tasks, it's time to bebop on over to our end of year roadmap file and make sure to answer the 2 guiding questions at the top of the to-do list. My goal for back to school season is to feel blank. And in order to feel that way, I need to prioritize blank.
When we are faced with dozens of tasks and an inflexible deadline like the start of school, it's so easy to feel like every single task is top priority. But a mindset like that makes it really easy to waste a lot of time on tasks that are not moving the needle. Ask me how I know. There is no sadder wasted time than summer wasted time.
If we're going to sacrifice our free time for unpaid work, let's make sure that the work we're doing will give us the greatest benefits. And the key to doing that is to recognize the difference between urgent and important.
I have got to admit that this is a chronic struggle for me, like a daily issue. Everything to me feels urgent, so it makes it hard to prioritize which task is most deserving of my time. I am getting better at recognizing the difference now, but when I was a young teacher, it was just an indistinguishable blur of panic.
I have definitely been there, and I'm sure we can't be the only ones. So let's see if we can find a better way. An urgent task is tied to a deadline. An important task is one that moves you closer to your goals. And a tool that can help tell the difference is the Eisenhower matrix.
Oh, we sound so smart. And this is going to be a little tricky to describe, but there is a page for this in your end of year roadmap. So next time you're online, open it up and this will just be immediately clear. But in the meantime, picture a 2x2 grid. The 2 boxes in the top row are labeled important, and the 2 boxes in the bottom row are labeled unimportant. So we've got important and unimportant. And now let's label the columns. So the left column is urgent and the right column is not urgent.
That makes the box in the top left urgent and important. The box in the top right is important but not urgent. Then the bottom left is urgent and unimportant, and the bottom right is not urgent and unimportant.
The tricky trap is that tasks that are urgent often feel important because there will be consequences if you do not follow through. But just because there's a deadline doesn't mean the task is important.
And these types of tasks crop up more often than we realize.
Especially when there are so many outside people who like to have a say in how teachers use their time.
Yeah, it happens all the time. For example, imagine you have a mandatory training on a district initiative you're already familiar with.
I'm sure this has never happened to any teacher anywhere.
Of course not. So do your best to imagine you're required to attend a useless training. How do we categorize this task? The training is urgent because there are negative consequences if you don't attend, but it's not important because you already have the information you need.
Ideally, with a task that is urgent but not important, is one that you can find a way to get out of. Either you delegate it to someone else or you kind of push back against the person making that demand on your time. However, we have all learned that school systems are not always that flexible.
No, there's often not a lot of wiggle room with the expectations handed to teachers. So when you find yourself voluntold to do something you can't get out of, the key is to do the minimum. An unimportant task, no matter how urgent, is not worthy of your highest efforts.
Right. There is zero advantage for going above and beyond with this task. So just do what's required to make your administration happy.
So how does this help you get ready for the school year? Let's get back to the goal you wrote. How do you want to feel in back to school season? If you want to feel relaxed, any task that will help you feel relaxed fits the category of important. Maybe that means having your first week prepped and ready to go by the end of July so you're not stressed.
Or if your goal is to feel excited about teaching, maybe you want to create new science units because you have taught the same thing for the last 7 years. Or maybe you want to get all new classroom decor. It might be easy to think that classroom decor tasks aren't important, but if it is a task that genuinely supports your goal, then it is important.
Once you've identified your urgent and important tasks, you have a good idea of what to start on. Next, you can work on your important but not urgent tasks.
If a task is unimportant, but it still needs to be done, like I said, do what you can to delegate it. And if it is something that is neither important nor urgent, then delete it. Your time, especially your summertime, is more valuable than that.
Now, I don't know what your summer to-do list looks like, but I imagine it's pretty lengthy. You've got giant tasks like set up your classroom and tiny tasks like get a box of tissues.
So the Eisenhower matrix can be helpful in identifying which tasks need your attention first, but it doesn't tell you which of those urgent and important tasks are urgentest and importantest.
Yes.
And again, because we've got that hard and fast deadline of school starting, it can feel like everything should be top priority.
This is why having a clear goal is so important. We need a standard against which to judge our dozens of tasks.
If my goal is to feel prepared, I might have urgent and important tasks like prepare for Meet the Teacher Night, get my classroom set up, and plan for the first day of school. So where do I start? Let's see what kind of impact each of those tasks has on my feeling prepared. Getting the class set up would probably be the most useful, but I can't control when my room gets cleaned and I don't want to wait around to do that first. And then by comparing Meet the Teacher Night and the first day of school, it's just a no-brainer. Feeling prepared means having the first day of school ready to go, so that's what I want to work on first.
All right, so we used our goal to identify where we want to start. Now let's dial in and get clear on what we want to start with.
Earlier in the episode, we mentioned that you need a central place to gather all your tasks. When you know where you want to start, in this case, I want to start with prepping the first day of school, I need to start listing every single task that will meet the goal. So to prepare for the first day of school, I need a daily schedule, 4 dozen sharpened pencils, and, about 200 other things.
Turn off that little part of your brain that just started to panic. I promise we're going to make this manageable. After you've listed all the tasks, we're going back to our goal of feeling prepared. Which of those tasks is going to have the biggest impact on feeling prepared?
For me, I am tempted to say that it is physically setting up my classroom. But again, we run into the barrier of not knowing when the room will be cleaned.
And it was always my room last when I was the only one on the team in there working. You know what I mean?
Yes.
It's just so frustrating. Please come clean my room.
So let's consider all of the physical first day of school setup as a separate task. And let's just focus on what we can control right now, which is the planning.
If planning is your top priority, the next step is to go through and identify any task that relates to planning. Circle them, star them, highlight them, do whatever you need to make them easy to pick out in your sea of tasks.
If you are using the to-do list in our end-of-year roadmap, we have included a handy feature. For each task, there are 2 drop-down menus. Use the first menu to mark all of the tasks on your list that support your biggest goal. So if my biggest goal is to get my planning done, I want to start with making a schedule. So I'm going down my list and I am marking any schedule-related tasks with the letter A. So next to find out what time second grade lunch is this year, I mark A. And when I do that, something fun happens, and I was really proud of this feature. The whole row turns red.
Ooh.
So any task I mark with an A as my top priority turns red. So then I can easily see what I need to be focused on.
Once you've identified all your top priority A tasks, you need to decide which of those tasks should be done first. That's where the second column comes in handy. Assign each of those A tasks a number. Top priority must do first task is A1. Important, but I'll get to it in a bit, is A12.
If you are someone who would like to start back to school season feeling prepared, calm, and ready to take on the new year, we have good news for you.
Very shortly, we are launching a brand new course so that you can still prep for school without having to be chained to your computer all summer. We designed this as an audio course so you can listen while you're hiking or lounging at the pool.
If you want to be the first to know when we open the course so that you can make sure you have a seat, head to secondstorywindow.net/waitlist.
In this course, we'll walk you through everything you need to do to set your intentions, identify your priorities, create systems, and actually get things done so you can meet all of your back-to-school goals and keep your sanity.
Plus, we will go step by step through how to build a happy and productive first day of school. So we have already done all the priority ranking for you so you can get started on getting things done.
Actually getting things done is indisputably the trickiest part of having a to-do list. So how do we make sure that happens?
This could probably be an episode on its own, but here are some quick suggestions. First, go back to your readiness goals. What work boundaries did you set? Do what you can to ensure that you're following through with the work time you've scheduled. Then plan your work time around your top priority tasks. So you're making sure that the tasks that will have the greatest impact are the ones that are actually getting done.
Second, manage your energy, not your time. We all have 24 hours in a day, but not every hour in a day is equal. If you have the most energy in the morning, do what you can to schedule work time in the morning. If you're a night owl like us, do what you can in the evenings.
Third, try batching similar tasks. We talked about this in episode 128, but as a refresher, batching is when you group similar tasks together. So if you're already making copies for the first day of school, why not also make your copies for Meet the Teacher Night and your first week of math lessons?
Batching might mean that you're doing some of your non-urgent tasks alongside your urgent tasks, and that's okay. The point of prioritizing your to-do list is to be more efficient, and batching any similar tasks is boosting your efficiency.
Another tip is to kiss your frog. Our mom used to say that if you know you're going to have to kiss a frog, just kiss it and get it over with. And in this case, kissing a frog is not about finding a prince, but about getting a dreaded task out of the way. If there is an unpleasant task looming in your future, just do what you can to tackle it now.
This tip is not so much about efficiency as it is about keeping your morale up. It's much easier to be productive if you're not fighting the knot of dread in your stomach.
And our last tip for getting things done is to be realistic. Even if you spent every day at school, you just could not get everything done. So be realistic with what you are expecting of yourself. That's why prioritizing your tasks is so important. If you can check off the most valuable tasks, you know that you are starting the school year from a place of strength, even if some of your non-urgent tasks are left unfinished.
Make sure you check out the link in the show notes to access our free end-of-year roadmap. This will help you reflect, set goals, and prioritize your tasks.
And it will set you up for the best back-to-school season ever.
We'd love to hear about your back-to-school goals. Come join the conversation in our teacher-approved Facebook group. We hope this episode gave you permission to approach your summer to-do list with a little more intention and a lot more grace.
Because summer isn't just a runway for the school year, it's a season that belongs to you too. Resting, dreaming, and even doing nothing at all count as worthy uses of your time.
If today's reflection helped you rethink how you spend your summer energy, we'd love it if you shared this episode with a teacher friend who might need the same reminder.
And don't forget, we are dropping a new Can't Miss Classic every Thursday this summer, each one handpicked to support you as you recover, recharge, and gently prep for what's ahead.
Until next time, may your list be short, your sunscreen strong, and your summer full of things that fill you up.
We hope you enjoyed this episode of Teacher Approved. I'm Heidi.
And I'm Emily. Thank you for listening. Be sure to follow or subscribe in your podcast app so that you never miss an episode.
You can connect with us and other teachers in the Teacher Approved Facebook group. We'll see you here next week. Bye for now.
Bye.